What is up, guys? It is MMA Mafia coming at you with another video. Today we're going to be going over the top 5 most hated UFC fighters by the fans. But before that, I'd like to mention I will be doing streaming soon and fight predictions, fight breakdowns, all the stuff along those lines. But I'm probably going to wait a little bit until I get a couple more subscribers and stuff so I have people to stream to. I need to get a face cam too and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. And like and share the video and comment. Get these videos, all the views up and shit, so I can get some fucking subscribers. So I can start doing all that. Love to do that, but we're going to get right into the video. At number 5, we have Paddy Pimblett. Now, Paddy's here because mostly the Jared Gordon fight, a lot of the trash talk he does, the Ferguson performance also, but since the Bobby Green fight, he's been getting less hate. I've been seeing in the comment sections and stuff. I used to not like Pimblett that much, but I'm starting to get around to him. But I still see hate in the comments over the Jared Gordon fight, over the Tony Ferguson fight. But he had a good performance against Bobby Green. Looked decent on the feet. Stand-up looked good. The leg kicks looked great. He was handling the distance pretty well. And he obviously submitted him, choked him to sleep. But the Jared Gordon fight really got him a lot of hate, especially after that in the post-fight interview, where he said he deserved a performance bonus for that fight. It's a really bad fight, but regardless, he said he was injured. His foot looked pretty off in that fight, but still gets a decent amount of hate. I still see in comment sections him getting a lot of hate. And also the Tony Ferguson fight, where a lot of people were calling him out for not being able to finish Tony Ferguson, and yet saying he had a bad performance, and Tony was catching up to him on the later rounds, but it wasn't a terrible performance, honestly. The people before him were getting dropped by Tony Ferguson and stuff, like Bobby Green, Michael Chandler. But I think it was a decent performance by Pimblett. Not the greatest, but it could have been a lot worse. The next fighter coming in at number 4 is going to be Conor McGregor. Now, I haven't seen a lot of Conor McGregor fans around anymore, to be honest. Like, whenever I see a post about him on Instagram, like talking about his comeback fight or anything involving him, is usually a lot of hate in the comments. No, everyone's saying they don't want to see the fight, and a lot of people saying this isn't 2016 anymore. We don't really care about Conor McGregor anymore, and the Michael Chandler situation really isn't helping anything. But also, being the most popular UFC fighter of all time is obviously going to bring a lot of hate, and he has a brash personality, obviously. And I think a lot of people are just over him trash talking on Twitter and stuff. But once the fight comes around with Michael Chandler, if it does come around, I think a lot of people will be on the train again, hop right back on it. And I think people see him out partying, out drinking and stuff, and we're just getting angrier and angrier over time, him not fighting. We've been waiting for him to fight Michael Chandler for a long time. He hasn't been in the octagon since, 2021 against Dustin? So it's been a long time since we've seen McGregor in the octagon. You know, I see a lot of Khabib fans always posting their gifs in the comments on Instagram. It's just the inbreds, just always having to bring Khabib and Islam up. It's pretty annoying. But Conor McGregor is going to be at the number 4 spot. And at the number 3 spot, we have Belal Muhammad. The sausage party burrito, big toucan nose, big beak on his face. We have Belal. There's a lot of reasons why people don't like Belal. Can't remember the name Muhammad, but his fight style is extremely boring. He talks trash like he's over here taking people's heads off. But honestly, I think it's kind of crazy that he's in his late 30s. And if you look at pictures from him earlier in his UFC career, he is not that big in the pictures back then. And I kind of do have a sneaky suspicion that he might be on something. But like I was saying, boring fights. All he does really is just lay on you. It's insane how Sean Brady got TKO'd by this man, especially after watching that performance against Gilbert Burns. But I think a lot of his fights coming up were just bad luck for his opponents, like Gilbert Burns being injured in the fight against Belal Muhammad, and Vicente Luque coming off that brain hemorrhage, which was really bad. I think Luque should have just retired after that, to be honest. He's never going to be the same fighter after that. But also, when Belal was not getting a title shot, he was pulling out the race card and stuff like that, which is just ridiculous. But some fans are coming around to him now. It's kind of just a meme now, but it's crazy that he's the welterweight champion of the world. I'd love to see Shavkat fight him next, but we'll just have to see what goes down with that. But Belal Muhammad is going to be at the number 3 spot. Now, at the number 2 spot, we are going to have Merab Dvalishvili. Now, Merab's going to be here for a couple of reasons. I genuinely don't like this guy. After the Jose Aldo performance, when Aldo retired for the first time, and not even just that, but Jose was going to retire. It wasn't really decided yet. He told Merab in the cage that this might have been his last fight, and then Merab leaks it to the press that Jose Aldo might retire, which is just ridiculous. That's fucking stupid as fuck. And it's not just like, oh, he's a grappler, he's a wrestler, I don't really like him. He's genuinely just out here winning fights just because he has good cardio. He's just holding people up against the fence, failing all takedowns. But he had a good performance against Henry Cejudo. Good performance. Had a couple takedowns on Henry. Looked really good in that fight, honestly. And I think fans were starting to come around to him with the fucking Instagram skits, but they're kind of getting old now. Not really that funny anymore. And he had the same type of performance with Piotr Jan with the Aldo fight, where he's just failing takedowns, holding up against the fence. You know, he doesn't really have the best fighting style at all. But it's kind of funny seeing him, that video of him jumping into the crowd and going after that fan. That was kind of funny, I'm not going to lie. But overall, I think the Jose Aldo thing was just a shitty thing to do. Jose Aldo is being one of my favorite fighters. That especially pissed me off. Like, how are you going to go to the press and tell him that he's going to retire? Jose couldn't even retire himself. That was just really stupid of Merab, but Merab's going to be at the number 2 spot. And coming down to our number 1 spot, we have Ian the Cuck Garry. Now, there's a lot of people that don't like this guy. I'm included in that. That's me. But IanGarry pulled out of 296 because he was getting too much heat. He was supposed to fight Vicente Luque. Didn't even show up for the press conference. That whole video that came out recently, too, of him outside of his wife's door with the flowers. He was just sitting there singing, looking like a complete cuck. He looked like he was being held hostage in that video. We might need to save IanGarry, too. It's kind of sad at this point. Like, I just feel bad for him now. Like, it's getting a little crazy with that whole situation. One day, we're going to see some crazy shit going on with him and his wife. She's taking all of his money. She's leaving him for the nutritionist that she was married to before him. Like, it's getting bad over here for IanGarry. And also the situation with Neil Magny, when they were at the press conference, and Neil Magny said he was going to discipline Ian like his child. And Ian started to spin that and say that Neil Magny pretty much is just an abuser. But that was a terrible situation. And I think I read somewhere that Neil Magny was in he's like in a custody battle like at that moment, and it didn't help him in the courtroom at all or something, which is just beyond despicable from IanGarry. Like, that's just a terrible thing to do to another person. And I think that's really where all the hate started for him. And then obviously the thing came out of him being a cuck with the nutritionist that his ex-wife was married to before that and stuff like that. It's just a crazy situation he's in with that. After all that stuff came out, he didn't handle that well at all. Blocking people, threatening lawsuits against people, handled it really poorly, and pretty much having his wife stand there and yelling at everyone, leave my husband alone, which was just a terrible decision by him. His last performance against MVP wasn't all that great either. People were excited to see that fight, to see the striking matchup against them, but IanGarry just holding him up on the ground and stuff, not really doing too much in the fight. And I think a lot of other fighters don't really like IanGarry that much. As we've seen, he was kicked out of Leon Edwards' gym. I think it's the Renegade gym. But he got kicked out of that. I don't think a lot of UFC fighters really like him that much. It's kind of crazy to see that he's training over with Oliveira now, though. And even before, like, the whole situation with Neil Magny and the stuff coming out about him and his wife, people didn't really like him for copying Conor McGregor. He was doing the McGregor walk in the octagon and stuff, and just overall just trashing him. It was kind of funny when people were pointing out how it looked like he had herpes on his lip. That was pretty funny. Also, in the Neil Magny fight, he had him hurt really badly. He was chopping the leg kicks low, really had his legs hurt. Neil Magny was barely even walking around that octagon, and IanGarry couldn't finish him, didn't finish him at all. So that also brought him down a little bit, makes him a little more hated. But honestly, I do feel bad for him in that situation he's in. He doesn't even know it, and he's probably going to get screwed over. I think his wife owns like 50% of like his company or something, which is just insane. And I feel like one day we're just going to see some crazy shit where she takes like almost everything he owns or some shit like that, takes all of his money, and he's just going to be sitting there with his fucking dick in his hand, not knowing what to do, which will be a terrible thing to see. But IanGarry is going to be at the #1 spot. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment what you guys would want to see next. I'm going to be making more content soon, and again, I will be streaming and stuff soon. I just got to get the equipment, the face cam and stuff for all that, and I just got to get everything for that. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to be making new content soon, so stay tuned for all that. Share the video, do all that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.